Hi, I'm Sherry Henley with Business Over Coffee. It's great to be with you today and to be with this great panel of professionals that we have here with us today. I would like to welcome Carolyn Bindle of FashionAcademy.biz.
Yes.
Also Deborah Norwood, Laughter Lawyer. Barbara Bradley of The Commercial Appeal. That's located in Memphis, Tennessee. Very large paper. It's been around a very long time.
Yes, it has.
And you've been there 30 years.
Yes, I have. I've been there 100 years.
Well, you look good to have been there 100 years. So we are so happy to have you on the set with us today and as a panelist, a professional panelist to contribute to this look good, feel good segment that we are going into. So stay right where you are. We are going to cover a lot of ground today about how we look on the outside and also how we feel on the inside. Carolyn, let's start with you in the Look Good segment of this show. And how do you know what type of makeup people should have on, what type of colors they should wear? Take us on that journey.
Well, we take two things into consideration. One, obviously your skin tone, and two, your personality. Because somebody who's a dramatic is going to do 3 or 4 eyeshadows. Somebody who's a naturals, you're going to do good to get them to do one. And so you just have to know those little things, and then it just pulls together very easily once you do that. And neutral shades are always great.
So neutral works for any color?
Neutral works for anyone, any color and any skin tone. And sometimes the neutral may not work as well for somebody, but we can always, kind of make it work. But that's what we do when we look at someone. And the reason you got to bring personality into it is that feel-good part. You can do a complete makeover on someone, and if it's not in their personality, they are never going to replicate that makeover, and they're never going to feel. In fact, they're not even going to feel great when they're at the end of that makeover. So you've got to have it within their personality. You can't take people out of their realm.
That's a great point. Deborah, you have mentioned before about how people will put on a certain jacket and they'll act a certain way. Can you tell us that story?
Sure. There's some very strong studies done through positive psychology that talk a lot about the neuropsychology of enclothement or empowerment through clothing. And a recent study has people wearing a doctor's coat and working on math and other left brain activities, and they found that while they were wearing the doctor's coat, they could concentrate better, and they actually had increased attention span. Then in the other test subject group, they were told that it wasn't a doctor's coat, it was a painter's coat. And those who were wearing the same white coat, notice the very same white coat, their perception that they were wearing the painter's coat actually affected the study, and their attention levels dropped. So there is a lot to be said about the empowerment of what you're wearing.
Yes.
The clothing does influence you depending on your attitude, what your brain is receiving when you're wearing the clothing.
Well, we've often heard that perception is as real as reality, and that's very true even in the way that we feel about ourselves. One of the statements that I like to use is what you see is what they get. So the way you see yourself is the way I'm going to see you. Now, I see you, Barbara, as a professional you've had a lot of longevity, stability, and a lot of years in the fashion world. Tell us what you know as a professional about the look good segment of fashion.
Well, people ask me, why is fashion important? And I hear a lot of answers that fashion gives people status, and that's true, and that young girls dress beautifully to attract boys, and of course they do.
Sure.
And it shows that we're part of a group, or if you're a preppy or a skateboarder, okay.
Right.
But I think none of those things really carry through all through our lives, or I don't think that's really it. I think that people have a need to renew themselves. I think we have a need to shed our feathers.
I like that. So constant evolution.
Yes.
You're constantly evolving into someone else as you grow more mature.
Very good. Fashion is forward thinking, and when we dress fashionably, we show our energy and our enthusiasm and our
Yes.
optimism to others and to ourselves.
I like that. Tell us, there's synergy in this room right now, so I would like to know how that came about. We have fashion professionals right here. And Deborah, where you tie into that is you and Carolyn are partners in business.
Well, I'm her attorney.
Okay.
We've been
Yes.
friends for a long time.
And you're my attorney as well.
Well, I'm on your advisory
There we
committee.
go. There we go.
That's for sure. And I'm very delighted to come on board to Business Over Coffee. I believe that, sincerely, I'm saying this with all sincerity, I believe you'll be on the Wall Street Journal and New York Times,
Well, thank
sometime
you.
in the near future. I can just see
Thank
them
you.
focusing on this company, all the potential that it brings.
I appreciate
Carolyn mentioned something about personality and color. What I enjoy about Fashion Academy and what we have to offer individuals is a very, very scientifically based color panel system, the determining cards. And when she talks about being able to determine people's colors, she actually is talking from a semi-scientific perspective as well. And so I got to meet Carolyn. We were very interested in the process that this company is going through. Fashion Academy has great potential and is reaching international dimensions
I was
as well.
going to say it's international.
Yes,
It's
we have
outstanding.
consultants all over the world. And Carolyn has been teaching people exactly what to do, and I'm one of them, because when she met me, I was a schizophrenic. I either knew how to overdress or I just was as sloppy as can be. And she's got horror stories about me and how I dressed and things that happened to me because of
Well,
my
you
clothing.
look beautiful, both of you. Compliments of Marva Ballard,
Yes.
M.G. Ballard.
Yes, indeed.
An outstanding designer here in Memphis, Tennessee, actually. I would like to segue into how Carolyn contributes to the fashion aspect of the commercial appeal and how that connection was made, how that synergy was made between the two of you.
Well, you know Carolyn has a makeover column.
Yes.
But I've known Carolyn much longer than that, and I'm very familiar with the Fashion Academy color analysis system. And I know, ladies out there, that you years ago, when you tried color analysis, it was a pretty creaky system, and it was pretty limiting. That's so different now. It was completely revised a number of years ago, and it really works. It's great. It's easy to use, and if you know what colors you wear, that's a huge help in getting the most out of your wardrobe. You'll wear it you'll wear your things longer, and they'll coordinate better, and you won't make mistakes. And it does work.
So how does Carolyn contribute to, I know she's an actual contributor to your fashion segment, but tell us what she brings to the table for the individuals that are featured there.
Well, Carolyn does her makeover column, and generally the women there are just clueless about what they're supposed to be doing. They have no idea what colors they wear, what styles flatter their figures, and Carolyn does a great job not just of making them look better, but she pays attention to what their style is. She doesn't put people in clothes that they may look nice, but they're not going to
Talked about
wear.
that. Yes.
That's so important.
And that segues right into the feel-good segment of this show, Business Over Coffee. I'm Sherry Henley, founder of Business Over Coffee International. I'm so glad you've tuned in to watch us today on this feel-good, look-good segment. Now, let's go to the feel-good segment. And we can look great, walk out, and have a low self-esteem. There was a time in my life where if I didn't have makeup on, I wasn't going to walk out of the house. Now, I don't very often now, but I will say that I feel good enough about myself on the inside that I do not feel that makeup defines me. I only believe that makeup will actually accentuate a few things. But let's talk about that, about how that is actually birthed in someone, that security factor on the inside.
I mean, from the very beginning, we're given cues about who we are and what we are by the way we're treated and what we were wearing from the beginning You know,
Sure.
children are wonderful because you can dress many ways you
Right.
want, and then by the time they become teenagers, you
Oh,
have
my
absolutely no
goodness.
control whatsoever.
Yes, my children, they get so angry at me when they look at old pictures because I dressed them in these flashy suits, my son, and my daughter had all these bows, and now they don't want that.
No, and I
So-
love what Barbara said. It's an evolution. People are
Yes.
evolving. They're trying to define themselves. They're trying to find themselves. One of the things that I found as attorney over watching throughout all these years, these makeovers, you know, I was always fascinated by the people who actually, you know, found themselves through the makeovers, and those who really never knew who they were and therefore couldn't stay with it. And so I started investigating a little bit into, you know, the study of stress coping, identity, neuropsychology of laughter, and you know, I'm a member of the Positive Psychology Association, and together Carolyn and I have created a good relationship of color and laughter. We've learned that professionals have been taught to grim up to look professional. In my era, you know, women had to look more manly. You had to wear a suit with a little bit of a fake tie, and that made you important, and you fell into the business world that way. And we've been taught that to be businesslike and professional, we have to be grim. And we've robbed a lot of people of their identity by removing laughter and removing color from them.
Sure.
And therefore, they're very uncomfortable as professionals. Their stress and coping mechanisms are rising to unprecedented proportions, and they've
Yes.
lost the inner clown or the child
The
in
inner
them.
clown. Did you bring
The
your
inner
red
clown.
nose?
Oh, I've got my red nose, but you know, I have to warm up professionals before I ever wear that thing. But yeah, we have to become childlike, and there's a wonderful expression that says, you know, we have no choice in growing old, but growing up is optional.
I like that. That's a great segue into talking about how we all have an inner child in us. And in fact, today as we were coming onto the show, I walked in and I was talking with Shelley Bauer, and I was just laughing and giggling, and I said, you know, I'm having a girl moment. And she said, let's have a girl moment. And so those girl moments are important, so make sure you have those. One of the things I want to point out is this, and this has to do with both Barbara Bradley, Deborah Norwood, and Carolyn Bindle, who you are one of the featured individuals in here with FashionAcademy.biz. This is Beverly Borick, our professional Boost intern at Business Over Coffee International. And tell us what you did with Beverly.
Well,
Carolyn.
she's been one of those women that was, you know, stayed home, took care of the kids, raised the children, and you know, I did the same thing. And you get yourself into kind of a, I don't want to say a rut, but a fashion rut, because all extra goes to the kids, all extra goes to the house, and all extra goes to, you know, the husband who is out in the work, and so you kind of fall back. Well, they're at the point now where they're empty nesters, and so she wanted to embark on a little dream of hers of doing jewelry, and she would have this beautiful, beautiful jewelry, and the clothes never matched the jewelry. Never matched the
And her
jewelry.
jewelry's
her
great.
jewelry's
Glory, shine,
beautiful,
adornment,
beautiful.
yes.
And so you asked, you were like, is there any way possible? And I was so excited because in the back of my mind, we had kind of even already, somebody else had submitted her, which is really kind of funny.
Really? Interesting.
And said, you know, she's got to have an artistic look about her. We
Yes.
got to get this
Right.
this artsy look, and she's got this personality that's down inside that is
Right.
ready to come out. And
Yes.
even the outfit that she put on whenever Vera, our certified retail fashion
Yes.
consultant, brought out the outfit, she took one look at it and she thought, oh, this is big, this is bulky, I don't know about this. And she put it
looks
on,
great.
and she came out of the dressing room going, oh, I
Can
can't
we-
do this.
Can we bring the cameras in on this?
And then she went over to the mirror, and as she started dancing in front of the mirror, Vera and I looked at her and said, oh yeah, she doesn't like it at all.
Well, one of the things about this is it says no fuss look for new creative venture. And the creative venture that she has, you just explained, and it's her jewelry collection. And so I admire how, first of all, you saw something in Carolyn that brought Carolyn to the table, which is that right there is a story in itself.
That was one of the best phone calls I ever got.
Yes, yes. You saw something in Beverly. But first, before you could do this for Beverly Borick, Barbara Bradley had to see something in you. So tell us what you saw in Carolyn that brought her to the table of fashion.
Well, for one thing, I saw her talent. Look, would you buy jewelry from a woman who looked like that?
There we go.
I mean, before you even look at the jewelry, you know,
Yeah, right.
I'm not.
Sure.
You know, I want to see something from her that expresses her artistic sense and that she
Right.
knows what she's doing. I will buy jewelry from someone who looks like
Absolutely.
that.
Yes.
Yes, very much so.
So it's you know, fashion has appearance. It has so many. It's relevant in so many ways. You know, people do need to pay attention. I just knew how good Carolyn was. We've worked together a long time, and I knew she could make these women look better.
Right.
And you know, feeling better about themselves, because when we did the interview in the Look Good, Feel Good segment of Your True Colors Image Radio,
Yes.
which is on Blog Talk,
On Mondays.
yes,
At
with Business
10
Over
o'clock
Coffee.
BOCI
Yes,
Talk
and
Radio.
Carolyn's just launched her new Image Radio show.
And you have a
I have the
Look
Look Good, Feel-
segment in that particular show. So
And I was really blessed to be interviewed by Beverly, by some fortuitous event. You weren't able to do it. Beverly interviewed me. And we talked a lot about, at that point, I'm a gelotologist, which means I study the science of laughter. And, and I'm a member of the World Laughter Tour. And one of the things that I do is I help professionals de-stress, learn a little bit about coping mechanisms and understanding themselves. But I help them laugh through non-humorous methods, but then we really get down to the business of being mindful and having some mindsets throughout the week, which are called good-hearted living habits. One of them is forgiveness. So we started talking about forgiveness on the radio show, and she started bringing out how people used to laugh at her when she was a child, how people mocked her, how she had a
Laugh
stutter
at,
her.
yes.
Big difference.
Big difference.
You know, there's a massive difference between toxic laughter and compassionate laughter, and all of us have experienced it. She had experienced a lot of toxic laughter in her life, and she'd had a lot of people ruin her self-esteem. So that by the time she becomes this creative, artistic person who now enters into the business world, you know, she had to go through a transformational
Yes.
side to her. And what we try to do with therapeutic laughter and good-hearted living is give people transformational attitudes about stress. She had already captured the most important one, which was forgiveness. Forgiving her past, forgiving herself, forgiving the people who had hurt her, and letting go of it so that she could become a new human being.
So forgiveness is actually found.
In one of our good-hearted living principles that we have to be mindful of.
Okay,
Because
so
we
that's a
can
part
laugh.
of our look good.
Yes,
Then.
and
So if
feel
we
good.
are unforgiving, then that's going to show on our face in the way we carry ourselves. You know, the psychology behind that is
It's
very
amazing.
interesting. Would you take us through maybe a 1-minute segment of de-stressing?
1 minute segment of de-stressing.
For that.
Well, for one thing, I talk a lot to high school students. You know, they're always sitting there trying to do the Facebook pages, you know.
Yes.
And a lot of it is mating habits. We're all trying to, you know, attract the other sex and trying to have us all feel good. So I tell them that Facebook has face recognition strategies. It's not a 1 minute segment. I better narrow it down. But Facebook has face recognition, which is pretty much an imitation of the fusiform that's in our brain. And the fusiform in our brain can recognize something called the Duquesne smile. The Duquesne smile is an authentic smile.
Okay.
And Duquesne was a scientist who did autopsies in the 1800s, and he, you know, did all these autopsies to find out the muscles in the face and what makes a real smile. So when you have a true Duquesne smile, and this happens to you when you go to the grocery store, you're walking along and somebody kind of smiles.
There we go. Where is the chocolate, by the way?
We're having a true attention deficit moment here, girls. And chocolate is very important in good-hearted living, by the way. Hot chocolate. The Duquesne smile, let's go back to that. I tell these kids, you want to be on Facebook, you want to have a good smile, let's do a real Duquesne smile, the kind that makes when you're walking in the store or somewhere and someone smiles at you at 380 some feet away, your little lips kind of curl up automatically. Why? Because you know they're not threatening you. It's a real smile. How do we do that? 1 minute advice. Do this. Just do this for a whole minute.
That's not very real.
It's not real.
That's not real.
Okay, notice what's happening though. Notice what's happening.
Your face is adjusting to it?
Your face is adjusting to it. Your mind is getting the mind-body connection. If you really do it for an entire minute, by the time you're through, you are going to have a genuine smile, and your eyes are going to match that smile. So when you do your Facebook picture, you don't have this sad eyes and this grin. You've got this genuine, attractive smile, which our mating habits show. We see, we look, we like, we realize that we're attracted to one another, and it's genuine.
Yes.
So many kids right now on Facebook are losing it by going and clicking and not realizing that their eyes show the true pain that they're
That's
under.
a really good point.
I just, well, you always say smiling with your eyes.
Yes.
I didn't realize that it takes a little while for that to catch up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it actually
Our brain
shows,
really knows when we're really smiling or not.
Exactly. So it can be a smile from the mouth or a smile from the heart, really,
That's right.
is how I would phrase it. Because personally speaking, I grew up in a pastor's home, and we were taught that, you know, once you hit the stage, play the piano, sing, whatever you're doing, you put your game face on, regardless of what's going on. But the thing is, you can do that, but people can actually tell. I've seen photos of myself where I'm smiling and my eyes are sad. So you
And
really
what I see
have
Carolyn
touched
do,
a point there.
what I see Carolyn do is she brings out the real individual. She uses their real personality. She brings them out, and she doesn't change them. If you look at all these what not to wear and these horrible things where they take all your wardrobe, everything you love, and they tear it away from you, you know, and they rip you away, you know, and your whole soul is bared before I don't know how many thousands of millions of people on television, and you're told you're not good, you're not likable. You wear that. You know, I mean, think about it. Think about that soul-wrenching, non-validating thing that they do. On the other hand, they wear something, they know they're a natural. I'm a natural. She's got stories of me. I had to buy something for Senator Sasser, and I was wearing a poncho. My kid didn't have had a diaper and no shirt on, and I was with a gypsy, okay? A real live Romanet gypsy when we go into Dillard's in the silver department. Of course we're being followed by the security people. You know? And I finally have to call my husband and
Politically
say,
correct here.
saying, honey, honey, I think they're trying to arrest me or something. What did my husband tell me? My classic husband.
What are you wearing?
What are you wearing?
There we go.
People judge us.
From a
People
man's
judge us.
perspective
People
as
judge
well.
us by what we're wearing. Our feelings about ourselves are changed when Carolyn can help define and redefine, but not ruin your soul by putting these colors and clothes on you.
Yes, people are transformed within as well as without. Carolyn, you've done a lot of makeovers. Tell us one particular person that stands out that was totally transformed from the inside out.
Well, we did this one lady who had worked at St. Jude, was so corporate lifestyle, and she had retired to take care of her husband because he had become ill. And so her entire existence now was taking care of her husband, once in a while babysitting grandchildren, and her release was working in the flower garden. She had relegated her life to sweatpants and a baseball hat.
That happens a lot.
And that was her entire life. So when her friends called to go to lunch, she didn't want to go do that because she just had sweatpants, sweatshirts, and baseball hats. So we set her up and we put her in Not Your Daughter's jeans, which those are fantastic jeans for women. They're made for women, not for teenage girls or for men.
Right.
They're made for women. And just a T-shirt that had a matching jacket. And we told her, said, for in the house, the jeans and the T-shirt, and then when your friends call, you throw the jacket on. And
So
you
you
go out
made
for
it
lunch.
seamless. You made it
And
effortless.
she was crying. She cried at East Memphis, and I'm going to start crying. She cried at East Memphis Aesthetics whenever they were doing the final makeover and doing her makeup, and the makeup artist had to sit back and let her stop crying, then dab her eyes,
And that
then
makes
do
it
again.
worthwhile,
And
what
you
you do.
just, you know, and talking about your genuine smiles. I mean, she was just. I can
Comes from the
remember the
soul.
after picture where she's grasping that hat, that big, beautiful brimmed Sophia Loren like hat that they gave her to work in the garden with instead of the baseball hats, and she's just gripping that and just grinning from ear to ear. And then we had one who. The entire photo session, all she could do was laugh. Claude, the photographer, he just kept laughing.
Well, laughter is
So
contagious.
everybody in the room is laughing, and this beautiful picture of her. She, you know, her husband was coming home from Iraq, and when he'd last seen her, she was 7 months pregnant, and then they let him come home, and she would. Right when she had the baby, so she was still, you know,
Sure.
that. And now then
I
she
can
had
relate
lost
to that.
everything, and he came home, and she wanted to greet him at the airport with a new her.
What a beautiful story.
And so she she couldn't stop laughing in the studio. It was awesome. So we've seen some wonderful, and tears.
Yes.
Oh, we've seen tears.
Sure.
Happy
sure.
tears. Happy
Have
tears.
you been in on any of the segments as Carolyn is doing this and going through the process of putting this on paper, or do you get it once it comes to your desk?
Well, we both. We have worked together before on makeovers, and sometimes I'm back in the studio and I get to talk to the people, and that's fun. And I get a lot. Mostly, I see it when it comes in, and I edit
Sure.
it and rewrite it, and send it on. What strikes me about what we do here very often is how much people can do with their figures. You don't have to have a perfect figure to look a whole lot better. You can, there's so much that can be done to balance your figure. If you're top heavy, you can balance it with a wider hemline down at the bottom.
I think that's a great tip, and we're going to go to each of you for your last minute tips for the viewers right now. When it comes to looking good, Carolyn, what would your tip be for the viewers?
My tip would be that what you wear is who you are and how you act. And it's been proven now with business casual out long enough that studies can be done. It's been proven here at FedEx. We had a FedEx manager who said specifically they came in and they wanted to do a second jeans day because they were behind on their donations, and so that's how they do their donations. You pay money, you can wear jeans. And the manager wrote the VP and said, in that case, can I just give the people who pay for 2 jeans days the entire day off? And they said, why? He said, because I get half a performance when they wear jeans. And I
can see
I
how that
even
would
lose
happen.
performance from other people in the office because they're flitting around the office socializing. So if you're going to let them wear jeans 2 days in a row, I'm losing 1 full day of productivity plus another 3rd day for all the people that didn't wear jeans.
Right.
So if I let them stay home, I just lose 1 full day instead of 1.5 full days. And so they didn't have the second jeans
That's an
day.
interesting
The VP
perspective.
said, no, we're not doing another jeans day. So you act the way you are.
So let's go to you, Deborah, for the last minute tip.
Okay, the last minute tip. Laughter is to the soul what soap is for the body. And it's cleansing.
I like that.
It's cleansing. And if what you're doing and how you're dressing and the way you're feeling doesn't make you laugh and you can't feel good about yourself, there's something wrong. You gotta do what you like and like what you do.
That's a great way to end this. Do what you like and like what you do. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. Thank you to the panelists for being with us. Carolyn Bindle, fashionacademy.biz, Deborah Norwood, and your web address is worldlaughtertour.com, and Barbara Bradley, commercialappeal.com. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for taking time to bring everyone together. That's what we're doing here at Business Over Coffee International. I am Sherry Henley, founder of BOCI. You can find me at sherryhenley.com. We work with professionals who want to optimize their business through 3 things: social media, educational exchange, and networking events. We are bringing everyone together with connections, collaboration, exposure, and business. Remember, bring everyone together. Thank you.